Hey everyone, I just finished watching the next Ninja Storm episode. I don't remember the name of this one. What was the name of this one? Thunder Strangers Part 1. Yeah, Thunder Strangers Part 1. So the not first episode of the Thunder Rangers. They've been here since a while ago. It's not really a big reveal. It's really weird. The show does try to play it off like it's a big reveal, but you've been shoving them in the last couple of episodes. They're not special. I really don't think they handled their introduction very well. So anyway, the episode starts off, Shane and Dustin are fiddling with Cam's laptop. Cam comes in and tries to see what they were doing, and there's a line that really dates this, where Dustin is saying something to him, and he says something about changing the channel, and Cam is like, computers don't have channels. Unless you're on YouTube. So anyway, that's just a weird thing that kind of dates this. Dustin's personality feels like the kind of personality that if it were to be done today, if you were to do the same episode, he would totally know how a computer works, or at least how the internet works. So anyway, something goes wrong with the laptop, and the whole system for Ninja Ops goes down, and they ask him if he backed it up, and he tells them it's on the disk that he gave to Dustin. And I was like, you only made one backup, and then you gave it to Dustin? Like, Cam makes it clear in the first episode that he doesn't trust them. So I don't know, maybe he did have another backup and he just didn't tell them. So whatever. Anyway, Dustin realizes that, oh crap, it's in my backpack, and I don't know where my backpack is. So, then meanwhile, up on Lothor's spaceship, the Thunder Rangers have Cam's backpack somehow, because they're totally not Blake and Hunter. And they hand it over to Lothor, and Lothor banters with the henchmen. It's kind of pointless. And then there's this really weird bit. Zergain comes in, and Zergain is like, "Sir, I have a great idea. We can launch a preemptive assault against the Rangers if we invade that place they hang out at, Storm Chargers." And then Lothor is all like, "Zergain, you know that..." And then, let's see, I wrote it down. "The Rangers can only be defeated when they're at their full Ranger forms." What? It's so weird. I've watched this episode a bunch of times. I used to have this one on tape or DVD or whatever. Ninja Storm was a season I was able to watch a lot of because there was quite a bit of it on home media, and I had some on tape. I'd seen some of it on TV. I had the Game Boy game, which kind of retold some episode plots. And this line I have never thought about before. It's kind of just there and gone. It's just kind of a throwaway line for Lothor, but thinking about this episode analytically and really focusing on everything, it comes off so strange. What exactly is the logic Lothor's using here? The Rangers' power can only be destroyed when they're at their full Ranger forms. What does that mean? When they have their battleizers on or something? If they even have battleizers, does Lothor know if the Rangers even have, full forms? Or, what does he even mean by full forms? It's such a vague statement, and all the other monsters just kind of accept what he says. I know at the very end of the season, Lothor is revealed to have been, manipulating his henchmen because he wanted to get to this one particular point, so certain things he said in the past may have been lies or whatever to his henchmen and to whoever, but I don't think they had that planned out this far ahead in episode 5. So, and this line doesn't really affect anything. He never does anything. The monsters don't really do anything. I don't know what it means. And nobody ever talks about it. I'm guessing for the same reason I never really thought about it before. It comes across as just a throwaway line. You're not really thinking about it. It's just something to shut down Zergain and build up Zergain's B story that doesn't really go anywhere either, but whatever. Anyway, back to the summary. Where am I? Okay, Dustin's looking for his backpack at Storm Chargers, and then he gets a call from Cam, and he's detected something at the quarry, so him and the Rangers morph, they go there, and they encounter the Thunder Rangers. There's a big battle, and the Thunder Rangers beat the others, and then they retreat, even though they're winning. And then the Rangers go to Sensei, and they're like, "Dude, these weird other Rangers attacked us," and they're describing them to Sensei, and Sensei says, maybe they have a connection to the Thunder Ninja Academy. And this is another line that kind of goes just, it's there and gone, but it is pretty cool back when, I remember when I first was watching this episode, and like, I knew Blake and Hunter were the Thunder Rangers because I'd seen ahead, I'd been watching it on TV, so when I got the tape or DVD or whatever, I remembered that. But this one line from Sensei did stand out to me, and I was like, oh, cool, so they're setting up that there was another ninja school, that Lothor attacked and kidnapped the students of the Wind Ninja School, but there's another one with their own students. Maybe they're still there, and maybe there's going to be more Rangers. Because I hadn't seen every episode on TV. I think by the time the tapes and DVDs were coming out, the show was over with. I'm pretty sure. Because I think SPD or Mystic Force was what was on when I had the tapes and DVDs and whatever. So anyway, and we didn't have, like, books or anything like Sentai does in Japan. So I knew that there were the 3 main Rangers, I knew there were the Thunder Rangers, and I knew there was the Samurai Ranger later on. But I kept thinking, maybe there's more that show up in episodes I didn't see, and they're only there for like 1 or 2 episodes. They're not. I don't know why I bother talking about that, because it's kind of pointless, but it is, I don't know, I thought it was kind of an interesting thing to talk about. So anyway, let's see. Up on Lothor's ship, Zurgane is getting fed up with being belittled. The Thunder Rangers go up there and they tease him for some reason. Oh, because they have Sentai footage of Zurgane fighting the Rangers, that's why. So anyway, Zurgane gets fed up and decides to go and fight the Rangers, and then Lothor teleports him back up to the ship and sends the Thunder Rangers down in his place, and this time the Thunder Rangers have their own tsunami cycles, and so then the Thunder Rangers summon their own Zords, and then they form their own Megazord, so the Rangers counter with their Megazord, but then their Megazord is completely, like, damaged and trashed by the Thunder Megazord, and we see the Megazord, like, crash, and it's, like, down on the ground, all the cockpits are falling apart, there's smoke and sparks shooting out of the Megazord, and we get it to be continued, and the Megazord being damaged this way is something I wanted to talk about. I was thinking about in past seasons, I usually really like the scenes where the Megazord is, like, badly damaged. It gets, like, an arm ripped off, there's smoke coming out, the cockpits are falling out, there's tubes and wires and sparks shooting everywhere, there's fire coming out of it sometimes, or, like, it just is completely obliterated, it falls down, falls to pieces. It's a really cool moment in most seasons, but in Ninja Storm, it doesn't really come across that way. It kind of feels too soon. Like, in other seasons, when the Megazord is damaged or whatever, it's usually towards the end to signify that the stakes are raising, that the Rangers are, like, they're suffering some losses or something, but here, it's episode 5 out of 38. This isn't the type of thing I would expect this early on. Usually the Megazord being destroyed would come way later, like, at least when they hit, like, episode 30 or something, I'd assume. So, I don't know, it's just a weird thing I was thinking about. It kind of feels wrong for it to happen this early in the series, and it made me think about Amit Bhowmik's original idea for a Hurricaneger adaptation. His idea was that the Thunder Rangers and the Wind Rangers would be, like, rivals who would occasionally team up together, kind of like Lupin Ranger versus Pat Ranger. Except I'm assuming more antagonistic than them. But anyway, I'm wondering if they would have messed with the footage a little bit more and maybe moved something like this up to the end instead of keeping it, like, at the beginning. If it's even from the beginning. Because I have watched some of Hurricaneger, but not in a while. So I don't remember for sure if this happens there. I'm pretty sure the Thunder Rangers don't show up, like, this soon in Hurricaneger. I think they do wait a little bit longer. That's the other thing. In Mighty Morphin, when Tommy was introduced, and he breaks into the Megazord, it's a big moment, and he's, like, slashing at the inside of the Megazord. Again, that came a bit farther into the season, plus it was the introduction of a new Ranger. with this, the Thunder Rangers, this isn't their introduction. They've been introduced before. We know that they're like two evil rangers. I don't know. There's a lot that just feels kind of weird and not quite right with this episode. It still works fine. It's just kind of weird when you compare it to the other seasons. Looking at my notes here. Oh yeah, Zurgane's little B story goes nowhere. And I don't remember how it turns out. Like, I can't remember. Is this something that comes back in the second or third part? How many parts is Thunder Strain? Okay, 3 parts. And my phone misspelled 3 for some reason. It changed it to 2? 3 is a word? Why would it change it to 2? Okay, there. Now it's fixed. Anyway, so I don't know, maybe Zurgane's thing comes back in the next episode or the one after that. But in this one, it's just really pointless. It's only there to eat up some time because it was a thing in the Sentai footage. That's one of the weak points of Power Rangers. Like, you can tell when the writers are kind of fumbling around when there's a really awkward, clumsy scene in there, and it's only, and then you see like a Sentai thing, and you're like, oh, okay, that's why it's there. It's like Red Romance back in Lost Galaxy, where I remember when I was watching Red Romance, an episode from Lost Galaxy, and I was like, this is really slow and bad and not very good. And then at the end, there's a fight with the monster, and then you see this guy come in on a motorcycle, and I'm like, okay, now everything is kind of, it's like puzzle pieces falling into place. Now I know why they introduced this guy with a motorcycle at the beginning. Now I know why the girl looks like this, and this one character is here because the Sentai footage that they wanted to use had someone on a motorcycle and a ranger doing this, and this one ranger here, and this one monster here, and this one girl was there, so everything had to match up for that one scene that we wanted to use. And that's kind of what Zurgane feels like, although the rest of this episode is quite a bit better than Red Romance. Red Romance is probably the worst episode of Lost Galaxy, and of, like, most of, like, the whole Saban era, probably, because it's just, ugh, not a good one. Anyway, I didn't really have anything else to say about the episode. I haven't been going to Ranger Wiki to look up trivia for the last couple of episodes. Maybe I should do that, because, yeah, I don't know. Can't really think of anything else. Maybe there was some interesting behind-the-scenes stuff with this or something, but whatever. That's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.